All right, this will be our first session in computer apps in Adobe Photoshop. If you had the graphics class, you've done some Photoshop stuff. And we're not going to do as much with Photoshop as we did in graphics, but let's go ahead and get to work. We're going to train on some real specific things that will lead up to a bigger project. And I'm going to hop into Photoshop for a minute and show you what we're going to be working on today. We're going to be working on a couple of styles of creating a background called rays and bars. This one is more kind of like rays that are kind of shining out of a central spot. You can see these little blue lines that are crossing at the bottom of this document, and the rays are all kind of like coming away from those guides that are crossing down there. Another way you could do today's assignment is to do it just with some bars that go across the screen, or they could go up and down if you wanted to. Really kind of up to you. So I'll take you through how to do this, and this is again going to be something that's a part of what we do later on. Okay, now I'm going to pull up, I've got a handout here. If you go to Drive L and you look in the folder for this particular assignment, you'll see this little PDF right here that says 001 Rays and Bars. I'm going to open that up and let's take a look at that here. Let me scroll to the top of it. Here's what we're doing today. It's a 25-point deal, and you're going to be using Photoshop to create a ray style or bar style background. And I've got some information here about setting up the document right in here. I'll show you how to do that as a part of this movie. You might want to use rulers. That'll be kind of be up to you. I'll show you how to use the rulers if you want to. You might want to use guides, but again, that's going to be up to you. You don't have to have the guides to be able to do this. You can fill your background with any color you want, and I'll show you how to do that. All the instructions are right here. You're going to want to create a new layer once you have your background filled up, and I'll show you how to do that as well. And then we're going to be using a selection tool to do this today called the polygonal lasso, and I'll show you how that can help you get the job done. And when you have a lasso or a selection made, you can fill it up with whatever color you want, and I'll show you how to do that as part of this movie. Adding effects here, kind of an optional thing. You might want to add like a drop shadow or a glow or something like that, and I'll show you how to do that if you want to do it. And then when you are all done with this, you submit it in your turn in folder on Drive L. Alright, so I'm going to hop back over here to Photoshop, and I'm going to go ahead and close these examples that I have here. There's the rays and there's the bars. I'm going to go ahead and close those. And to start Photoshop, you'll need to go to your Start button in the bottom left-hand corner, go to All Programs, look for the Adobe Web and Design Premium and CS6. Make sure you get CS6, and you'll want to look for Photoshop in there and start that up. I've got Photoshop down here in my dock on my Mac, and I've already got it running, so I'm just going to keep it right here. All right, here's how we'll start this off today. We'll click File and click New when you're in Photoshop, and on this preset menu, we're going to switch to Web right here. And it will come up with this size setting of 800 by 600, and that'll work perfect for what we're doing today. So it's going to be the web preset 800 by 600. Click OK, and you have kind of an empty Photoshop document. Control 0 on your keyboard will zoom that up to fit your entire work area if you want to do that. Control minus is zoom back. Control plus is zoom in. So you can kind of set that however you like the best. I might zoom it back just a bit because of the guides that I'm going to use here. Now let me turn these. Your rulers are probably turned off, so let me turn them off so that you can see how this works. If you want to use the rulers, you can go to the View menu, and you can see there's a setting here for rulers. All right, Control R turns them on, or you can go to View and go to Rulers, and you'll see the rulers. Now, why would you want the rulers? Well, they kind of help you measure out. This is set to pixels, and it kind of helps you measure out how wide and how high and where you're putting things. And another thing it will do is if you click on a ruler, like if I click on this side ruler and drag, I can put in what's called a guide. All right, and you know, some people like to use guides and some people don't. It's up to you. So I would click on the top ruler and drag down. And what I'm thinking is that, like, if I want all the rays to kind of emit from the same spot, I can use that place where the guides cross as a spot to help me a little bit. All right, so I've got some guides in place, and you can do this without the guides. It's up to you. All right, I've got some guides in place, and the next thing we'll do is take this white background that we've got and we'll fill it up. All right, so I'm just going to go to the Edit menu, and I'll go to Fill. And I'm going to use this option that just says color ... because that allows me to pick the color I want. All right, I get this color picker here, and I want kind of a darker blue color, not a real like navy blue, but a kind of a medium blue color for the background. So I'm just going to use, you can drag up and down this rainbow colored ramp here to get close to the color you want, and then, you know, like if you want a green shade or a yellow or a red or whatever. But I want something kind of bluish, so I'm going to get here in the blue area, and then I can drag this little thing around the middle to find, okay, you know, here's what I want for this background. So I'll click OK there, I'll click OK there, and I have a blue background. All right, and just kind of following along with the handout that I've got over here, I've set up the document, I turned on the rulers, I've got some guides, I filled the background layer. Now you need to make a new layer. All right, I'm going to create a new layer here, so I'll show you how to do that. There's several ways to do it, but I'll show you how you can do it. You can go to the layer menu and just do new and layer right there, layer, new, layer. There's a keyboard shortcut, Shift Control N. That all works fine. You can do it that way. Now, if you're used to Photoshop, you might also just come to over to the right on the Layers panel. Way down at the bottom, there's that little button that looks like a page that's flipped up here, and that'll do a new layer for you too. So you can do it a lot of ways. So I'll just do New Layer. If you see this box pop up right here, just click OK. All right, and that makes, if you look again over here on the right-hand side on the Layers panel, it makes an empty layer above the blue background. And that's going to come in handy here pretty soon. All right, now the next step here is the third tool down is a lasso tool. All right, and I'm going to click and hold and go to polygonal lasso right here, because, and I'll show you how it works. I like it for this. I'm going to click right where these guides cross here. I'll just click once, and I'm going to stretch that out and click again. I'll move up a little bit and click again. I'll go back to where I started, click again right there, and it makes a selection. Now what I want to do with that selection is fill it, so I'll go to Edit Fill, and again I'm going to use this color ... And this is where you make your own decisions. I want to use kind of a light blue color here. I'll lighten that up a little bit. There we go. That's more what I want. I want a light blue color, and I'll click OK and I'll click OK, but you could use any color you want. Now I've got this selection active right here, and I've filled that up, so I'm going to do Control D on the keyboard, and that turns the selection off. All right, now I'm going to keep doing that same thing so I can make these rays appear like they're coming like right out of here. I'll just click here and go boom, boom, and go back to where I started. And I'm going to fill that up. Now a keyboard shortcut for filling is Shift F5, and if you're going to use the exact same color, you don't really have to go pick that color again. Just click OK or press Enter. All right, like if I click OK right here, see it fills up with that same light blue that I used before. If you want to change colors, you can. You could use a variety of colors, but I'm just going to use the same color. All right, so I'm going to try to quickly kind of work my way through here and do boom, boom, boom. I'll do another ray here. I'll do Shift F5 and Enter and fill that up. Control D will turn it off, and I'm going to try to pick up the pace here and do this pretty fast because there's some other things I want to show you. Shift F5, Enter, Control D. All right, and I'm not really paying careful attention to making sure that all of these light blue rays are the same thickness and all that. You could be more careful about that if you know that is something that concerns you. If you're one of those, oh, I gotta have them all look just perfect. You know, if that's an issue for you, you can certainly take your time and try to be a little bit more accurate about that, but I'm just trying to hurry and get it done for the purpose of this movie. All right, and coming around here, click, 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 back to where I started, Shift F5. I'm not changing colors, so I just press Enter. I do Control D on the keyboard, and I'm making this whole series of rays. Shift F5, Enter, Control D. I just got maybe one or two more to go. Shift F5, Enter, Control D. I'll do one more. Make that cut right across there. Oops, I accidentally double clicked and messed my selection up, so I'll try it again. Shift F5, Enter, Control D. Okay, now the other thing that you can do here, and this doesn't look bad, it would be okay, this would be fine, but I could also go to this effects button right here and throw on a combination of effects, like how about a little outer glow here? Why not? I'll beef up the spread and the size of that outer glow, not that much. All right, so that's making those light blue rays glow a little bit, and so it changes the look of it. I kind of like that. And maybe I'll add a little inner glow along with that, except on the inner glow I'm going to change the color and just click that little color chip right there and change it to a darker color, and kind of just choke it and size it a little bit. And you may have to play around with things like the blend mode and oh yeah, there we go. Okay, now we're getting something good. I've got a darker, kind of a dark gray. I put the blend mode on normal, play around with the choke and the size a little, and I'm getting kind of a cool looking effect going on there. Kind of like it. All right. If you had the graphics class, you're probably going to, gosh, you could do all kinds of things. You could bevel and emboss this. You could stroke it if you had all kinds of stuff you could do. But I'm just going to go ahead and click OK with that. All right. Hey, that would work for a ray style. Now let me real quickly, I'll go to File, New, and I'm just going to do this very fast. Web 800 by 600. And let me just, I don't know, I'll just fill this. I'll do Edit, Fill. I'll fill this background with a color, and let's use kind of a orangish color. Oh, no, let's go more like a red color here. Okay, we'll fill it with red. Now, if you want to do the bars kind of thing, a lot of ways you could do that. You could use, again, I'm going to make a new layer, so I'll go to Layer Menu and New and Layer, and okay, there we go. Now I'm going to use this rectangular selector this time. You could use the polygonal lasso, but I'll use this rectangular marquee tool. And here's what I'll do. Again, ton of ways you could do this, but I'll throw a bar across there and go Edit, Fill. And let's say that I don't want that to, if I fill it with the exact same color red, it's not going to really be any good. So I'm going to do kind of an orange color on that and click OK. Pow. And then I could make another bar. I'll just use the marquee tool again, make another bar, and I'll go Edit, Fill. And there's a ton of ways. There's just a ton of ways you could do this. I'll make this a little more. I'm just pulling up that ramp a little bit and make that a little bit more yellow, and I'll take the rectangular selector again, and it doesn't matter if they overlap a little bit, and Edit, Fill, and we'll come up that selector a little more toward yellow like that, and click OK. And you see what I'm doing here. And I guess the background color, I'm kind of covering the background up a lot, so it wouldn't really matter that much. And I'll do another rectangular selection, Edit, Fill, and we'll bring that up a little more. We're getting a little more greenish in there now. And I can do a Control D there. And I could leave that top part red. I didn't really fill it. It's just the red background showing through here. So again, I've got this. One of them is a ray style. I did that. All right. This one's more of a bar style. Did that. Okay. And you could do either one. You don't have to do both. Understand that you don't have to do both. You do one or the other. And these bars, and I could even do this. I could do Control T on the keyboard, and I could take these bars and like rotate them and size them. And if you did Photoshop in the graphics class, this will all be very familiar. But Control T allows you to size and adjust things, and I can press enter on that when I'm done. And so it's still a bar style, but it's a very different look because the stripes or the bars are diagonal. And that's up to you. All right. Again, that trick was Control T, and then just use those frames, those handles to size it and kind of rotate it around, do whatever you want to it, and press enter when you're done. Well, okay, so here's a ray style, here's a bar style. You do whichever kind you want. When you get it done, you go to File, you go to Save As, you make sure you save on your network drive. You can just call it Rays and Bars, and then your finished work gets turned in the Turn In folder. All right, folks, that's it.